Dave.
Ian.
Everybody, it is Monday, November 4th, 2024. It's been a long year up to now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do this show a little bit differently. So I gave a timestamp up front, which is something we don't normally do. But we're going to split this episode into two because tomorrow's a big day. And so we are going to check in with each other now, because that's what friends do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to check in with each other on Wednesday and see how we're doing. And so you're going to enjoy this in real/delayed time.
Right. So the anxiety that you experienced like 4 days ago from when you're currently listening to this, you get to replay that.
Our gift to you.
Hey, who wants to trauma bond with a podcast with a parasocial relationship?
Yeah. Why not? Let's do it.
No, you pitched this. I appreciate the idea. I definitely appreciate recording the show with you tonight and having some fun because I can absolutely use it. So kind of like on that check-in end, like, how are you and the family doing? Like, where's your head at? You know, stuff like that. And, oh, you're eating a Butterfinger. Straight into the microphone. Butterfinger and whiskey. That's a good... Okay, all right. So here's...
Well, Dave, I have a house full of Halloween candy and a nice bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, and adult money, right? Yeah,
I'm doing great.
I would like to join you in your beverage snack thing with a liquid death. This is cherry obituary. Okay. And by
the way, I turned off noise canceling for that bit.
That was good. I was wondering why your pre-show claps came through, but that was good. Yeah. And then I have Costco peanut butter pretzels, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to swill a whole bunch of liquid death straight into the microphone.
Yeah. You know that movie Sideways?
Yeah. Paul Giamatti.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Hayden Church, was he in it?
Yes.
THC, a great character actor, great guy. Yeah. I mean, as far as I know, great actor. Who the fuck knows where his head's at? But anyway.
No, but there's a scene at the end of it where he drinks his like most prized bottle of wine while eating McDonald's, like out of a paper cup.
Yeah.
And a couple of things. One, that's a pretty good analogy for where I'm at right now. And two, there are few things in life more joyful, more satisfying when you're stressed out, to me anyway, than drinking really nice liquor or wine with just garbage food. I don't know why, but like garbage food and a really nice bottle of wine or a really nice bottle of whiskey is just like my favorite thing in the world.
No, like you told me about kind of like cutting loose and like just having some TV, a nice bottle of wine, and like Taco Bell with your wife, like after the kids have gone to bed, right? Like that is such a pro move. That is so clutch.
Like life's simple pleasures.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because who says you need to like go have a $98 charcuterie board the size of, like an SD card, with your insanely expensive whiskey in order to like have a good time. The good time is what you want. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes what you want is a $60 bottle of wine and a $10 meal.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
The best.
Yeah. Guess what? My wife and I say this every now and then. It's like, oh, do you want to go? Like, we love that place, Kickin' Chicken here in Denver, right? Like, and it's a bit of a drive. It's like at least a 30-minute haul in traffic to get out there. It's like, yeah, I want to go. Like, we're grown ass adults. We can do whatever we want, Like, yeah, we're going to just take a little bit of time and go get the chicken that we like instead of like, just something else, So like,
yeah,
picking and choosing where your compromises are, or like, and I wouldn't even consider it like a compromise. You're making a distinctive choice to have the thing that like scratches the itch, right?
That's it exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are at whiskey. Like I was thinking about the DEF CON levels before the show, and like previous DEF CON kind of levels that we've talked about have been like shopping for a used Maserati Quattroporte on Craigslist, right? Like the Apex adjacent mental health check-in, right? And I'll like you're at Butterfinger wonderful whiskey level.
Yeah, I'm eating candy. I'm going and seeking out candy that's in the house.
Right. Yeah, you've eaten more candy in the last hour than I have. So this is like that scene in Ghostbusters, like cats and dogs, right? Yeah. So yeah, I am at a level that I did not realize until today. So when the initial kind of COVID lockdown was like really hitting, and the big bolus of work that kind of I had to do up front because I'm in healthcare and I was kind of on the virtual health, like I needed to stand up tons of stuff, right? That was after that kind of like all that infrastructure was in place and everything was operationalized, and the team did an amazing job at like training people to use the things that we stood up, and this kind of like this large scale like group effort had kind of just become like the new normal, like for operations, right? Like we made the big push, and now like, okay, now we're in the run phase instead of the build phase, right? And during that kind of like run phase, like I had a chance to kind of step back and like, focus back on myself a little bit, right? That was when I sold my house and I moved in, with my wife. Like a lot of stuff changed. But like one of the things that I did during that period of time, like after I sold my house, was I did this 2 times now that I'm thinking about it. I built a Hackintosh, right? Like I built a PC and I got Mac OS 10 running on it. And they don't even call it Mac OS 10. That tells you how old I am. Mac OS running on it. And then I bought a laptop, like a cool little Dell XPS, and got Mac OS running up on that too. Okay. That was like during the COVID lockdown. Let me show you where I'm at now, Ian. You know what this is?
Is that like an old iPhone?
This right here is an iPhone 4, Ian. Let me hold it up in comparison to the current technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adorable.
For audio listeners, that picture of Andre the Giant holding a beer can? Yeah. That's what it looks like when I'm holding this phone. Okay.
Why do you have that?
See, there you go. Obviously, when I'm very stressed out, I need to direct my energy into doing something insanely fucking nerdy, right? Like trying to figure out how to cram an OS that wasn't meant to run on certain hardware onto that hardware. So I remembered very fondly a game that I loved playing way back in the day, probably on an iPhone 4, called Sword and Poker. And it's like a little game where you have a grid of 9 cards and it's like a little, almost like dungeon crawling game. And you make these poker hands and that determines how hard you attack the enemies, and you walk through the little dungeon, kind of going through these poker boards,
Okay.
And it like Konami bought the game and then never did anything with it. And so it was shelved forever ago. Well, I just decided I wanted to play it again. And you can't get it for modern hardware. So I acquired an iPhone 4. I figured out how to downgrade the Apple OS on it, the iOS on it. I found a copy of the game's IPA file on archive.org. And earlier tonight, I was playing Sword and Poker on an iPhone 4, running an OS that it's not supposed to run anymore. So that's where I'm at mentally, Ian.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I resent the fact a little bit that I'm at stuffing my face full of candy and whiskey, and you're like, oh, I'm just being productive.
I'm going about wasting time in the most productive manner possible because it's not like I'm like learning how to like, optimize like our Lemons Team web streaming or anything. Playing a dorky little poker game from 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're both doing great in conclusion.
Right. We're fine.
Everything's fine.
We're fine. Jesus Christ. And I realized I spilled liquid death on my keyboard. Oh my God. Ian. What the hell? Hang on, let me get something. Oh, headphones. Ian. Oh God. I swear. The number of times we step on our own dicks,
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was talking to my buddy Jason about that game we play, Marvel Snap, and like he had played a card and like completely grenaded himself from winning a match. And I was like, oh, the call's coming from inside the house. Like, yeah, been there, buddy. Been there. So, yeah. Yeah, I do. That's hilarious that you're eating Butterfingers. And
we're both doing great. I think, okay, here's what I think we should do. Let's play. We have some license plate games. Let's make ourselves feel better with the license plate games, or worse, depending.
Okay.
And and then let's check in on Wednesday when we're done with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Okay.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You know what? Yeah, hit me with yours, buddy.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Mine is called Vibe Check.
Oh, okay.
These are 3 plates that really don't have much to do with each other, other than I think they represent the 3 possible emotions that you could go into election day with.
Okay.
The ways that you could process election day.
Sure.
So that's why it's called a Vibe Check.
Okay. I'm not seeing it in the Goigle folder. I see the solution in the Dave Don't Look folder.
Oh no.
I didn't pull it up. I just saw the presence of the file.
Oh no. Let me make sure that it's in there.
That's okay. I have a little something to show people in the meantime. Our buddy Eric sent in this. This is a my ass from Eric. He saw an armored truck with this sticker on it, and it's letting everyone know that this vehicle is air tagged. So the technology, like Eric was saying, the technology that he uses to make sure his luggage is where it's supposed to be is also guarding this armored truck full of money, I assume.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So don't steal it, everybody. It's got an air tag in it. Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
That's okay, buddy.
Should be there now.
Okay. We're going to let the internet magic happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. So there you go. Air tagged.
Great.
Truck. Ian. Okay. Here we go. Vibe check. We got it, buddy. .png. Fancy boy. Okay. All right. Here we go, Captain. All right. Okay. So up at the top, we've got a silver Kia hatchback, that little like Forte, I think.
I think it's a Forte. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we've got a black Dodge Durango and a silvery gray BMW X5.
Yes.
Okay. We have Believe B3L13V3. They had to go deep on those numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
As one of the plates, Lay Low as one of the plates, and then NBD. No big deal. Yeah. NBD. Just no big deal.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ian. We got to do some zoomies and enhancies here.
For sure. I don't think there's a ton to go on the Kia.
There's no tint.
Yeah.
Maybe what, like is that a West Virginia plate?
It's a Virginia plate.
Okay. Right. Yeah, it's like in the parking lot of a strip mall or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've got the Dodge Durango with maybe like a dealer decal on it and a trailer hitch.
Mm-hmm.
And is that like, you think that's like a dog in the back? That kind of like that curve? I don't know. Yeah. Right?
Something's back there. Yeah.
Yeah. Pennsylvania plate?
Yeah, it's a Pennsylvania plate.
The Keystone State, everyone. And then lastly, we have a BMW X5. Oh, there's a sticker on the the top center stop.
The third brake light. Yeah.
The third brake light. Yeah. What's it say? It says Pool Dog, DAWG.
Good question. I honestly didn't even notice that. Let me see if I can zoomies and enhances. It is Pool Dog.
Okay, I'm Googling what Pool Dog is. It's a billiard company. They make billiard stuff. Okay. Pool cues and whatnot.
Interesting.
Rocking all seasons on the X5. Shadows are long in this picture. I'm wondering when it was taken. Okay.
That's going to help.
Yeah, right? Like, are they rocking all seasons during the summer? Or are they like, or the all seasons like a sensible choice for this person, right? Okay, Ian. I want to put lay low on the Durango for some reason, just because I think it like has unmarked police car vibes with the taillight assembly.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like No Big Deal would be okay on a BMW X5 plate. And I can completely see like a Believe on in Virginia on a Kia, a Believe plate, like being on that car. Right. So like my instinct is that these are in order, but I don't know. If I had to think of like an alternate take on it, I could go lay low on the BMW. Unless it's like some prosperity gospel bullshit. Maybe Believe on the BMW. No Big Deal on the... Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know, buddy. I think I got to say that these are in order.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, Dave, the vibe check has been failed.
I figured as much. Let's look at it. Did I get them?
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad. I got them all wrong, Ian.
This one was all non sequiturs. So
right.
It was mostly, I just liked the idea you're going to go in tomorrow either believing,
right,
laying low, or just being like, it's no big deal.
Right. All of the kind of outcomes, right? Yeah. Up to and after.
Yeah, I think the lay low thing with the pool thing kind of makes sense. Right?
Like the billiard stance.
Mm-hmm.
I had the information, then I didn't even do anything with it, Ian.
Right. That was the only piece of zoomies and enhances that we had.
Yeah. Also, we appreciate the YouTube commenter that pointed out that zoomies and enhances is now in their lexicon, and they said it during a work meeting. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's
amazing.
That's one of our favorite things to ever happen. So thank you. Okay. All right, Ian. Well, all right. As you kind of spoke to vibes, I'm going to speak to tech because this one is called Nerds, Ian.
Ooh, I like these. Okay.
All right. Here we go. License plate game 114 Nerds, Ian.
Oh.
Nerds.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we have a Ford C-Max with a dual bike.
Like a two-tray bike rack. Yeah,
two-tray bike on the trailer hitch.
Mm-hmm. I love it when you initially see a license plate game and you just like freeze up because you're taking all of the information in, right? Like, yeah.
I'm trying to process all of it all at once.
Yeah, and you do. Like, you're like Neo in the Matrix. Like, yeah, right?
Plug me in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we've got a Lexus 350. Is that what that is?
I think it's an IS 350. It's either an IS 350 or 250, but zoomies and enhances will tell.
Yep, and then an Acura and a new Acura NSX
in red.
In red, yeah. And then the license plates are Car Geek, Molex, which is like the connectors, right? The electrical connectors,
the hard drive power connector.
Well, I think they make all sorts of different connectors, right?
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I think they make all sorts of different.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like those white plastic connectors that are inside of computers and whatnot. Okay.
And cars. Lots of cars have style connectors. And then nanotech.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. This is an interesting one. Okay, we definitely need some zoomies and enhances because there's lots of stickers on the C-Max. And I feel like
you want to see the C-Max first then?
I definitely want to see the C-Max.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. This person's crazy. Okay.
Well, tell the audio listeners why you say that.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's an old person. I'm basing that off of three things. One, they drive a Ford C-Max. Two, there's a hat on the rear deck with a floral band.
Yeah, like a Tommy Bahama type of hat.
Yes. And then there are not one, but two AAA stickers on the back of this car.
And as AAA members, you and I, well, how many stickers do you have on your car?
0.
Welcome to the club, buddy.
Right. Because I want to go over the speed limit someday. And then there's a Biden-Harris sticker that has been half peeled off.
In a really weird way. Like it's like just the right half of the sticker, and it's been like it's like vertical. Like, and it doesn't look like it was like torn.
Well, and this is Wisconsin plate, so it is possible that was vandalism.
Okay, gotcha. Sure.
Right? Maybe somebody was taking it off. And then we get to the real conundrum here.
The piece de resistance.
There are 2 bumper stickers that say no high voltage towers.
No high voltage towers. We're going to Google that together. No high voltage.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like bordering on like a no 5G sort of thing, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Yeah. Yeah, like the people that are scared about like EMF levels and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay.
And they have Middleton, Wisconsin. I mean, I'm going to look up where Middleton, Wisconsin is.
Yeah, we could do it together. I can pull up the maps.
Middleton, Wisconsin. Where's that? Oh, that's right by Madison. Oh, man. Okay, this person is a hippie.
Okay. So this is like the granola, like wellness segment, you think?
Well, it's, there's the horseshoe theory, right? And we got this is someone from this is a possible Jill Stein voter we have on our hands, I think. Right?
Okay. Gotcha. Even despite the Biden-Harris sticker.
I mean, it was torn off in a state of fury, it looks like.
I do like the first image that comes up for Middleton, Wisconsin is an idiot on a penny farthing bicycle.
Right.
Fucking hell, man.
But it's right outside Madison.
So is this like Wisconsin's Portland?
Yeah. Or like Ann Arbor or Columbus. This is where the university is. It's very, very, this is the bluest of the blue in.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. All right. Okay. Interesting.
Ian's locking back in.
It'd be so funny if their plate was Molex. Oh my God. With no high voltage towers. Oh man. That is interesting. Okay. Let's zoom down. Okay. Let's go down. I don't think there's much to go off of. IS 350 all wheel drive.
Right. Yeah. Just the
IS is a nerd who suddenly got money car. For sure. Right?
Yeah. Like I am doing well. I am a nerdy person. I don't really like, I want something nice. I'm not going to buy like an LS or anything like that.
Right.
Right. I've come from like a Civic. Right.
Yeah. It's a car that makes the senior leadership at a company go, what's our IT budget? Like just enough to have that be a passing thought as they walk past it in the parking lot.
Right. Right. Not like the help desk staff can afford Lamborghinis. Right. And their budget is like really fucked. Like, how much are we paying these people again?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The high voice that happens. Right. Yeah. They go full on Dave. Right. When they're concerned. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. This is a car that maybe gently raises an eyebrow, but then kind of moves on. Like you think, oh, maybe they're a double income, no kid, something like that. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Their spouse a doctor or
Right. Yeah. But not enough to cause alarms. Okay. Right. All right. And then lastly, and
then we've got the NSX that I think is at a car show. It's definitely at a car show.
Yeah, it is.
And my first thought is that is nanotech.
Okay. Because that's like the most futuristic car.
It's futuristic, and it seems like this is I just sold a tech company car.
Okay.
Right, like the IS 350 is. I am now a CTO car.
Right.
I got promoted. This is I sold the company.
Sure. Right.
But that would mean, in my head, that Car Geek is on the C-Max, and that just does not compute.
Right. Yeah.
So here's what I think it is. I think it is nanotech on the C-Max because they probably work at the university. This is college professor. Yes. This is a biology professor of something of some sort at the University of Wisconsin. They are a sustaining member with NPR station.
Right. Okay. I like where you're heading with this. Okay. I like the picture that you're painting. Yeah. Yeah, because you think like, what's the craziest car and what's the craziest plate?
Yeah. Well, and that's why they have to have the hat on top, because everything underneath that is just tote bags for NPR. And then
Lakshmi Singh signed this one.
Exactly. Oh, good pull. I like that one. Okay. And then it's between Car Geek and Molex. And I think Car Geek I think that this is this is tough, because I think that you want me to say Car Geek on the NSX because it's at a car show. But maybe this is like the Molex CEO or whatever the fuck. Okay, I'm going to go Car Geek on the Lexus and Molex on the Acura, because I think that is the kind of car that the plate is going to tell you how they paid for the car.
Okay. All right. I like that, Ian. I like the world that you have made here. Okay. Here's the solution, Ian.
Not confident.
Oh, wait, that would be me dragging the question to the window again. Here's the answers, Ian. You got one right. You did get Crazy Pants Magoo, the Ford C-Max with the nanotech plate. Yeah. Our buddy Mark saw that, so thank you, Mark, for sending that in. Jordan saw the IS350 with Molex. Like telling people that you're nerdy in a very boring way is a very IS350 move.
That is true. That is true.
I think it's more of an IS250 move. And, but yeah. And then our dear friend Eric sent us Car Geek when he was at a car show.
Man, I talked myself out of that one.
On the NSX. Yep. I saw you do it, but that's okay. Yeah. Right? You went 1 for 3. I went 0 for 3.
Well, yeah. That's okay. Because you know what? You know what's important? We just burned like 20 minutes.
We did.
We burned like 20 minutes where we weren't thinking about the unpleasantness tomorrow.
Right.
And we're just thinking about this. And it was lovely.
It was. It was. I'm very thankful for you, Ian. I'm very thankful for you.
And you, and everybody out there, I suppose, too.
Absolutely, Ian. Yeah, we truly appreciate all of you folks listening to this.
Mm-hmm. Dave, I will see you on Wednesday.
Yes, you will.
Everybody else, I'll see you in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, you're going to hear a bump, bump, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. We love you. See you in a second.
Their name is Mo, and it's their Lexus. Why the fuck didn't I think of that? That's where we're at. I've seen this plate forever. It is.
I thought the same thing. I thought it was Molex.
It's the connector. It's the connector.
The connectors, but it's not.
But but they're like, this is a connector. They know it's a connector, but also
this is their second Lexus.
Yeah, they had like a Lexus. Now they have Molex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that hit me so hard. I had to hit the record button again.
Yeah. And that is the kind of like dorky joke that a Lexus IS 350 owner would 100% make.
Yeah. Yeah. Boy, where's our mental state at missing that insanely obvious thing on a Lexus? Yeah.
I know, checking him out.
Shoves another Butterfinger in his mouth. Those fun-sized Butterfingers are fucking delicious, man. Right?
They're so good. So good.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of the 100 grand, like the fun size 100 grand with like the little bit of puffed rice and caramel in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to be eating this Butterfinger for the next 3 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. But now we'll be back. Okay. Goodbye.
Yep. Double fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think you can tell a lot about how we feel based on how we're dressed right now, both you and I. Let's talk people through, the audio listeners, what we're wearing.
Yeah, I have this very cozy corduroy jacket thingy that I got.
Yeah.
And like a long sleeve.
Those are called Henleys.
Henleys, yes. Long sleeve Henley.
What are we doing downstairs, if you don't mind me asking?
I got jeans and my rain boots.
Okay.
Sick ass rain boots.
Okay. Yeah. And a woolen sock.
And a woolen sock. Yes.
Okay.
Maximum coziness today. What about you?
Yeah, I got a Costco flannel, like a nice thick flannel.
Mm-hmm.
Just a standard undershirt, and then track pant bottoms, Ian. Puma track pants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you know what's funny is Timothy Chalamet wore that same outfit to the Met Gala this year. I was
going to say to the Met Gala.
Yeah.
Good. Nice. Yeah. So, and two pairs of little sockies. There you go. Double feet on the YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah. So timeline. It's Wednesday. Mm-hmm. I told people, and you knew that I was on a media blackout. You said you would text me if something overwhelmingly good happened.
Yes, and I did not send you any text.
You did not. And I was avoiding all of the news this morning just because I was trying to live in ignorance for a little bit longer. Just give me a touch long, just a skosh, right? And I found out, I heard the news. So, yeah, fuck.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I was prepared to be surprised with good news, and I was surprised, and I was prepared for him to sort of like squeak it out again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I was not prepared for this. This is the thing that I wasn't prepared for, I think.
Right. And of all people, I think that you're the most prepared for the most shitty outcome typically.
You're usually pretty good at that.
You
You're usually
are.
good at expecting the worst case scenario. And I think I just didn't want to think that people would choose it. It wasn't that, I don't know. So
right. That you would go like it's one thing to have folks happen upon it, but it's another thing to have folks go out of their way to make it happen. Is that kind of what you're thinking? Or is it a quantity thing?
It's a quantity thing. And it's the fact that he did better than he did 4 years ago, not just in like the battleground states, but like everywhere.
Right.
He did better everywhere.
Right.
Like almost every county in the US, right? And I saw somebody online bring up that they felt similar to the 2004 election. And I thought that was really apt because that was a really affecting one for me in my relative youth.
Yeah.
Like 2020 22 during that election. And that was a real like wake up call for me, that one, because W. Bush did better than he did in 2000 after he started the Iraq War.
Right.
After all the Abu Ghraib stuff came out.
Right.
That was in the news during the election, because that story really broke in like April of 2004 or something.
Right.
Somewhere around there. And all of the ads that year were anti-gay rights. Like all the ads that Karl Rove was putting out. Huge
family values. Yeah.
And there was a bunch of marriage equality ballot measures that year that the Republicans were putting out. Like that was one of the first like big culture war elections of this era.
Right.
And I just remember being really disappointed that people were like knew about all that stuff, because there was no escaping any of it. And we're like, oh yeah, no, that's what we want.
Right. Yes. That shitty thing is the thing that we want. Yes. That we think that that's the good thing. Yeah.
And this cycle is the same, right? It's, people, I find it really, there's like this, kind of like trope now of saying that one of the problems with our campaign was that there wasn't enough specifics. And it's like fucking absurd, right?
Yeah.
It's insane. Because one side actually had policy proposals, and the other side's policy proposals was, hey, we can fuck over people that you may not like.
Right. Right. Yeah. It was antagonistic bullshit rhetoric. Right.
Right. It was anti-trans people stuff.
Yeah.
Anti-immigrant.
Right.
Anti-elites and whoever else, maybe pissed them off that day.
Yeah. Anti-Semitic. Yeah. Like.
Yeah. And people were just like
straight up Nazi shit. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel bad for the people. I even feel bad for the people who voted for him, thinking that are deluded enough to think that the culture war won't come for them eventually.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. That they're on the right side of history.
Not even that, but just that this thing, that the monster that they helped unleash on the world won't eventually turn on them.
Right. Right. Yeah. Like that old, fucking Patton Oswalt bit about, like just low income people voting for George W. Bush and him being like, no, he fucking hates you. He hates you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. Like, what the fuck do you think is really happening here?
I mean, yeah, there are lots of people in that coalition who will probably get caught up in deportations
Right.
and certainly the abortion bans and all that sort of stuff that they will have real tangible ill effects from.
Right.
And I mean, honestly, I feel bad in advance for them because I don't think that's good that any of that's going to happen.
Right.
Right. And that's sort of the point, that they don't recognize that is bad for me if something bad happens to them.
Right. Right.
And that's where the disconnect is, right? Like it's one side is talking about what flavor, what tactics within a liberal democracy will convince the most people. And the other side is like, fuck you, I'm an island.
Right.
And it's a zero-sum game.
Right. Right. Because the messages around that are so easy to package. It's so much easier to. I had a therapy appointment early this morning. This is before I knew the election results, right? I've been working with my therapist for a long time. We didn't talk about anything political, but we were talking about some other things that are kind of happening in my life and some relationships. And at one point we were discussing how people with certain kind of like wiring, like, struggle to either see some good or some bad in a person, right? Like what was the term that she used? I made a note. It was really poignant. Identifying the best, right? Like, let's say you have a huge problem with an individual. You as like empathetic and understanding human beings might be able to say like, oh, this person that like fucking hit my car while they were like texting and driving made a mistake, and like they're raising their child, like they're a good father, right? But they just made a mistake, right? Like being able to see like identifying the best elements of a person. And as you grow closer to an individual, like these things can either kind of present themselves, or we can get trapped into these scenarios where a person can do no good or a person can do no wrong, right? Often relationships start with like a person can do no wrong, and it kind of, in an unhealthy dynamic, it can turn into a person can do no good, right? And there's tons and tons of stuff behind it. For somebody, it is so much easier to paint, like, say, like Kamala Harris or a Democrat as a horrible person. Fuck them. You don't have to think about the complicated nuance behind this individual. Just fuck them, right? And we're the good, right? Like to paint it in such a polar way, right? It's so much easier for people to latch onto that messaging. Apparently, I'm just speaking from like a statistical result that we've recently seen, right?
Right.
You know, and I haven't even been in the news. I just know that that's the messaging techniques that are used by the right, you know?
Well, and it goes beyond that. It's like even your fellow person, right? Like that's what they're talking about.
Right.
So I this is a thing that I've been thinking about since kind of 2016 and Brexit and all that, about how it's really trite and everything to talk about the founding fathers and blah blah blah, but like the ideas that informed the founding of the US and stuff were pretty radical. They really were pretty radical.
Right.
And as flawed as the fucking implementation was around that, which are legion, we could get into that at some point. But like there was like kind of two compete the whole push and pull of that time there was a lot of philosophers, political philosophers around then, but they're like the big push and pull were between two guys, Locke and Hobbes, right? And
okay,
basically, Locke was kind of arguing, and he was the one who kind of like gave birth to all of the thinkers that, or influenced all of the thinkers that developed liberal democracy, and that we kind of like follow that line, right? And it basically his thought was that people could self-determine, that they are basically good and all of that. And Hobbes thought that people were inherently flawed and needed a strong leader.
Right.
And for all of our, basically, I mean, more or less all of our history as a country, we've sort of been operating under the assumption that we're all in that like Lockean,
like inherently good, right? Yeah.
And we want to self-determine, that we want to rule ourselves.
Right.
And we've come close to going all the way over to like a Hobbesian view before, but I think this is the first time where we actually did it. Like,
right.
Where we're like, you know what? It's not that great.
Right.
We want to, we're going to have a strong man.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So that,
and you're speaking from a general populist view, like general population, statistical population view, not your personal view and my personal view, right?
Right. Yeah. We collectively.
Audio listeners can't see the global hand motions you make.
Big hand motions, as opposed to the normal hand motions. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Okay.
So like that's what I've been just like rolling over in my head, is just like, I don't know how, like it was hard to convince a whole group of people the first time that like Lockean point of view was the correct one.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever gone back. Like, how do you go back to that after you go to the Hobbesian point of view? And I don't know that that's ever happened.
Right.
And I'm sure, hopefully somebody who's listening to this can do a better job of explaining that than I did, because that's my very like political philosophy 101 sort of explanation of it. But like, I would love to know if there's an example of going back from that.
Yeah.
Without a war.
Right. Well, yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yes. Without some really, really bad consequences.
Mm-hmm.
I think that your mindset around kind of like not letting yourself get caught up in like trying to find causality behind like why Kamala's campaign ultimately failed is a losing game. Like you can go nuts just trying to think of that stuff, right? Or reading articles about that kind of stuff. Like I and which is another reason I've tapped out of news, like I can't let myself be exposed to that kind of stuff. Like I'm more in the camp of like, I did what I could.
Mm-hmm.
This is the result, and I need to try to figure out how to protect myself and protect my loved ones. Right. Like that's where I'm at mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot, not to say it was easier, but I think that this is scarier to me than it was in 2016, because I just know that like all of the institutional and kind of like conventional things that have stood in place and people have respected for so long just have zero fucking meaning. Right.
Yeah.
Like no meaning. Like, there's a segment that loves to play by the rules and loves the rule book and stuff like that. I consider myself to be a very staunch rule follower. Right. And then there's the side that fucking won, just they make their own fucking rules and they don't give a shit, you know? And it's worse knowing what happened, thinking that like in 2016 over and over, oh, this will be the thing that kind of like has people move away from Trump, right? And all it did was like lightning rod people to him, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think to your point too, like the guardrails are definitely broken and gone. I think there are a few that are still remaining. But my whole thing of like shitbirds beget shitbirds, like there's only shitbirds left. They're the only ones left around him.
Right.
Everybody who cared about any of those institutions are gone.
Yeah.
And so now we're left with fucking Elon Musk and RFK Jr. in his cabinet, and I don't know how that goes. So,
well, I think you do know how it goes, and it's not good. Like, you know, and which I think is one thing that to kind of dovetail back into like that, like can do no wrong, like identify the best in somebody. Like I am struggling so hard to identify any kind of potential good outcome of this, you know?
Oh yeah, no, there's not. It's going to be bad. I mean, I think best case scenario is that it's real bad for 4 years and he's as inept as he was the first time and they don't actually get anything done. So that's, I think the thing that I'm hoping for is I'm just banking on his complete fucking incompetence.
Well, you can say his incompetence, but like the Supreme Court took a huge fucking turn during his tenure. You know, like there was some real bad shit that did happen, you know?
Right.
Well,
but I think what I mean is that like there are so many shitbirds that have glommed onto him at this point, and they all have an axe to grind, and a lot of them compete with each other.
Okay.
There are lots of different factions that have just riding this turd all the way down the hill, and when it comes time for them to enact any of the fucking bullshit that they want to do, you know, there's going to be competing. They're going to be competing for resources and time and attention and all of that.
Right.
And so I think like infighting is probably the thing that's going to save us.
If we're looking at infighting as a best case scenario, I agree with you, and it's fucking bleak.
It's so bleak. It's it's bleak as shit.
Right.
Yeah. I'm afraid for so many different reasons, different reasons, both personal and, you know, geopolitical and economic, like there's so many different new and magical ways for this to fuck up
people's lives.
Yeah. And the world. I mean, like it's bad.
Yeah.
And there's no other way to put it. So, yeah, I don't have much of zany car show in me.
No, yeah. You know, I like, you know, when Trump was initially president, 45th term, and COVID hit, like, at least he signed that fucking warp speed thing that allowed like clinical trials to happen during the same time that production of the COVID vaccine happened, right?
Yeah,
that was a good thing for the human population that like he did. Nobody wants to fucking like say anything around that because they all turned into fucking COVID deniers and started injecting themselves with fucking horse dewormer after that. But like, I like that kind of stuff. Like I wasn't even like happy about that. It's like, okay, like it's like when somebody's like, like, well, I went out of my way to be nice. No, like you be nice by fucking default, right? Like you don't talk shitty to a service worker, right? Like you just be nice by default, right? That's your fucking default setting is just a human. right?
Mhm.
And so like I'm not going to pat him on the back for signing that fucking warp speed thing, but like I don't even see how something like that could happen in this term, right?
Oh, I think there'll probably be someone will, because he's, his opinion is whoever flattered him last. So
Right.
there may be something he shits out that ends up being good. I fully expect there will be random good things. It's like it's the John Mulaney bit of the horse in the hospital. He learned to use the elevator, like it doesn't mean it's good. It's
Right.
out of chaos.
Right.
We'll get a couple of nuggets out of this, probably.
Broken clock, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's good. It doesn't mean it's good.
Right. That doesn't mean that this is the structure that should be set up for the country and for the world. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think where I'm at right now is, besides rage and sadness and all of that sort of stuff, is just like, now is the time to like head down and take care of each other.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah. I agree because I think that like I was very politically active during his first tenure, and I just, obviously I still vote, but like, I'm not going to marches, and things like that. Like, yeah, I'm focusing on my mental health and the mental health of my loved ones, like that's the energy I have. I'm just trying to fucking make it through a day of work every day,
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah.
Remember that tweet I sent out a while ago where I was like, every day I'm just trying to close more browser tabs than I open.
Yeah.
Right? If I am looking at my fucking browser tabs as a thing that I'm finding overwhelming, then what's my mental state overall? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any other real good thoughts. I have a few things that I'm kind of,
sure.
but they're too disjointed even for getting wet for shower thoughts. So I want to marinate.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few days.
Yeah, huge amount of processing and stuff for sure. Yeah.
I do have one very extremely cringy thing that I want to do.
Okay.
Before we go.
Okay, and I have a couple shout outs I want to mention too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Do you want to do that first and we can close with my thing, or do you want to?
Well, I want to thank like our buddy Eric and other folks for reaching out to us and just like touching base with us and letting us know that they were thinking about us and that they hope that we're okay. We absolutely hope that everyone listening to this is okay as well, and we really truly appreciate you all. Earlier, like in our previous half of the show, Ian, you were coping by drinking whiskey and eating Butterfinger candies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that if, like, how do you see yourself kind of coping over like the next week, like with that kind of stuff? Like, I can tell you that today I completely took apart my MacBook Pro and replaced the thermal paste on the motherboard. Like, that's how I'm coping.
Yeah, I think this is one logistical part of life where having children is a real benefit.
Yeah,
because if you, I am someone who, when the going gets tough, I need to do something, and there's always shit to do. So I took Jenny had a meeting this evening, so I took the kids out to dinner, just the three of us, so I think that there's going to be a lot of that going on.
Yep.
And yeah, I've been really just trying to think about like the checking on people and being conscious of the fact that our fates are tied together, because I think that is the thing that were lacking, right? And so now is the time to double down on that, right? If it's not, the me being angry doesn't do shit. So, me seeing someone who needs help or something and doing that is better.
True. So, yeah.
Which is a good segue to what I was going to say. So I've had a couple of things that I've been trying to like internalize to sort of like tamp down the anger a little bit. And they're both of the same sort of sentiment. And one is a quote from Kurt Vonnegut, which I think I've probably said on this show before because it's like my favorite quote. But someone, he asked his son what he thought the purpose of life was, or the purpose of humans was. And his answer was, we are here to help each other get through this thing, whatever it is.
Okay.
Which I think is just a beautiful, very simple thing.
Sure.
And then instead of an album of the week, I'm just going to do a song.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I'm going to do the very cringiest thing of reading song lyrics, which is, just so embarrassing, this is the most earnest thing that I will ever do on this show. I promise you.
Okay.
But it's from one of my favorite songs ever called Strangers by the Kinks. So that's my record of the week is listen to that song, everybody. The whole album's great, but that song in particular, because in it, they say, in a promised lie, you made us believe for many men, there is so much grief and my mind is proud, but it aches with rage. And if I live too long, I'm afraid I'll die. Strangers on this road we are on. We are not two, we are one.
That's really good, Ian. That's really good. I'm really glad you pulled that up.
Yeah. I just think it's that idea that, again, your fate is tied to my fate, is tied to someone across town.
Right.
It's not a zero-sum game. Right. You doing better means I do better. That is the thing that makes any sort of democracy or anything else work, and everything else is just might makes right, and it leads to nothing. So
yeah, nothing good for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I think like identifying that the fates are like all of our fates are tied to one another is absolutely a great thing. And I appreciate you calling that out. Like that it is a good thing that they're tied to each other. Right. And that's what makes humanity so great, is that we have the ability to benefit, like to do things that help other people. Right.
Right. Yeah. To recognize that and use it to our advantage.
Right. Right. As a collective. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. The way to make yourself do better is not to make someone else do worse.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. It never has been. And I mean, every great thing humanity has ever achieved has been a collective effort. And even if you want to throw in great works of art that were individual efforts, the only reason that we have artists is because we have farmers, right? We're not all growing our own food. Right. We're not all defending our own caves. So the fact that there is the Mona Lisa is because someone else was growing wheat down the road.
Right.
Yep. And that idea is the thing that I think is lost, right? And there's no
right.
So I think talking about tactics of like, oh, we should have talked about the environment instead of Israel or whatever the fuck, like, is absurd, because we're at that level. We're
at such a conceptual, fundamental base level that like an understanding needs to be established, that like all of these like more higher end constructs. Like you can't even build a house on, like you can't even build a lean-to on like the how crumbled our foundation is, like with that kind of stuff right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, there's no point in that kind of in like ticky-tackying, like those things, right? Yeah,
yeah, because we'll just always run into that same problem,
right?
until it gets resolved. So
yeah,
and that's going to be like a generational thing. I think I think it's going to be a long time to rebuild. So yeah, fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Well, on that note,
yeah. Right. Yeah.
I think everybody, I want you to take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Check in on people who are upset, and because they have every right to be, and don't try to talk them out of being upset, I would say.
Right. Every emotion that somebody is experiencing right now is absolutely a valid emotion, right? Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, everybody give us, if you want to just talk to somebody, you just want to email or text with somebody, shoot us a text, 720-515-1391. Leave us a voicemail. If you want us to call you back, we'll call you back. Whatever you need.
Yeah. Let us know how you're coping in the YouTube comments. If you found something that like has helped you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, thank you. We love you. Goodbye.